Okay, Florian, go.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here today. I will be talking about the reduction of embodied carbon to data-driven product and building engineering. Yeah, I want to start this with a little quote from Johan Rockström, which should show up now. I think we paused it. Yeah, what happens in the next 10 years? Yeah, basically, Johan Rockström from the Potsdam Institute for Climate Change Impact Research. He talks about like what is happening in the next 10 years, and you know, our children have every reason to be alarmed. Finally, it's about stabilizing the planet. We have a vision about creating sustainable living for everyone. And we will do this as we are design buildings as continuously evolving products, not just as buildings anymore. This is a change that we have here in GROPYUS. And that leads me to my question, why did I actually join GROPYUS? Because GROPYUS is just not another construction company. I can actually take influence on the whole life cycle of a building as we look at it as a product, and that is really inspiring, and that's why I joined. With our first building, our prototype, we achieved a reduction of 22% of embodied carbon compared to a reference building of the DGNB. So we decreased from the DGNB value 9.4 kg CO2 equivalent per square meter in year to 7.35. But if we look at the whole life cycle, at the complete life cycle, we actually reduce much more because of our energy positive operations. So, you know, those circle diagrams, they only show half the truth, because if you have energy positive buildings, you can even reduce more there. But yeah, it's a prototype, and a prototype is an early release of a product built to test a concept or a process. With this, I don't want to say that a prototype would not be fully functional. No, it is fully functional. But we have to think about how we look on things. We need to understand what exactly are our carbon targets and how can we achieve those in series. So we have to look at things in a really, really big picture. We don't have to look down on like, what are we doing per square meters? We have to understand that from a global level. How do we break down those global emissions to a building? We have to break them down from global to national, to the sector, to the housing, and then also to the square meter. And only by looking at this like that, we will understand what we have to achieve in the next couple of years. If we break this down and look at the German Climate Act, Germany has to reduce the carbon emissions 65% to achieve the climate neutrality in 2045. And until 2030, we have to achieve the 65%. How do we do this? If we look at the embodied carbon at the reference building of the DGNB, we have to get from 9.4 to 3.3. But we won't do this in one step. We have to take those steps in between. And it is also, again, we are not only talking about the embodied carbon, we also have to keep in mind that we have to break down the operational carbon as well. So if we break this down, we can actually achieve more with climate positive operations. We can achieve that we reduce more than those 65% or those 65% over life cycle, or even be climate neutral over the complete life cycle of the building. And this is what we have to look for. This is really important, yeah. How did we look on the embodied carbon? We created a hotspot analysis to design out embodied carbon. And surprisingly, it's like if if you are that climate positive, the biggest part, the biggest share of the embodied carbon is the building technology. And because the buildings are big, also the fire resistancy. How can we now bring this process into digital, in the digital life cycle of a building? We have to digitalize related to sustainability. We call it deep sustainability meets deep tech. In order to do this, we have to understand our processes. First, we have to optimize the blood utilization. Then we have to end-to-end digital integrate all our processes. We have to get a high-efficient smart factory automation and integrate our on-site assembly as well. This leads to the platform-based building operating system that we use at GROPYUS, which we actually is on our own, that helps our residents to monitor and optimize their operations. The benefits go to the residents there. And this all leads to ESG compliant buildings in Article 8 and 9, but also we finally can achieve a fully digital life cycle assessment, which is really important to have. We call that deep sustainability. If we want to do that, we really have to understand all the processes, make the reality clear, monitor the reality, harmonize this information, and then also project it on the digital twin in order to achieve those sustainability insights. We first of all have to achieve climate positive operations with the lowest possible embodied carbon. And secondly, we have our deep tech will strive for optimization via carbon emissions towards deep sustainability.
Thank you, Florian.